Hey everybody, welcome to 20 Sides to Every Story. It's Monday. It's Monday and we are playing one of our community campaign games. Um, in fact, this is the only community campaign right now because we finished Expedition to the Barrier Peaks on Friday. So it's going to be all Lost City all the time for the next few months, at least as far as the community campaign goes. Hey, thank you for the cheer. I see Corey. I see Scenario. Ed is here. So good to see you guys. Thanks for hanging out. So we're playing Lost City. This is our community campaign, and what that means is this is our thank you game to the people that support the channel with their support through our Patreon. And also some of our Twitch subscribers. So we had a few people kind of poke in over the weekend. I'd sent out an email to some of our Twitch subscribers to see if we could entice anyone to sign up and play in our game. We got a couple of spots open here. So, if you're watching here tonight and it looks like it would be fun to come on here and play in a game with us, so consider supporting the channel in those two ways. The Patreon, I'll put that in the chat. If you support the Patreon, you'll get the first chance to sign up for the games when we put them out each month. Typically, I've been running them on Friday nights, but my plan going forward is to have a couple happen on Mondays in coordination with Winston. His campaign usually is on Mondays, and so when there's a hole in the schedule, I'll try to throw one up on a Monday as well. So you can support us with Patreon, or if you want to, whenever I got openings, we try to hit up the Twitch subscribers to see if we got any folks that want to kind of fill in the blanks here when we can. So this is a lower level campaign, so this is our two. I need to switch up the overlay.
Yeah, some of us are in the wrong spot.
Is that right? They all look right to me.
I don't have an 18 armor class.
The numbers. Oh, that's right.
Numbers might be pooped.
Okay, we can fix this. The 42 and the 18, that must be Halibut. Oh boy, okay. I had this set up for 5. I think that's what my problem is. I switched out names and not the stats. Let's see, who is 20 and 12? I bet that is oh, is that Professor? All right.
Yep.
And 18 and 18, that must be Saffron.
That is me, yes.
And I think I've got the Viscount right where he needed to be all along. 15 and 14, 15 hit points, 14 AC. Okay, cool. They're all fixed.
Actually, my AC is 21 though.
Well, it probably just takes, if you just did that switch.
I just did it, yeah, before.
There you go. I got you fixed. It only refreshes when I cycle through the initiative count, so that's why if you make some update, it won't refresh until you hit through the initiative count. So if you're enjoying what you're seeing, please consider supporting the channel. Also may want to come and join us in Discord. We've got a very active community in there. Lots of folks that enjoy tabletop games ranging from D&D to some of the old school stuff like this, and Dungeon Crawl classics. And I think over the holidays, it sounds like a lot of folks are maybe looking to try some more obscure or some gaming systems that we don't typically play. So very active community. If you're looking for people to hang out with and talk tabletop and maybe even find people for a campaign, please do join us there. Going to be pretty light on programming this week. We have this game tonight, tomorrow night at 7:30. Rime of the Frost Maiden will be happening, and then it's holiday break, so a lot of folks are going to take some time to be with friends and family and such. But then I believe we will be returning with Kingmaker then on Saturday night at 7:30 with DM Dave. So come and hang out with us then. So tonight, the Lost City. We've got 4-player characters here that are going to be returning to the world of Synodicea, where we are underground, far beneath the surface of the world that you are all from. When last you were up above, you were traveling through the desert and had gotten lost, and well, that's seems like a long time ago now, as you have fully kind of integrated yourself into the struggles of the Synodicean people, a people that have lost control of their city to an elder monster, an elder one known as Zargon and his followers. And so the war against Zargon is in full swing at this point. You all, as the company of Desert Wanderers, have been helping the 3 factions of Synodicea in uniting, and they are now cooperating with one another to take on the cultists of Zargon. Their forces are only a few dozen, and so even the numbers that you all have brought with you as the player characters are significant in their quest to reclaim the city. So now the forces of the Brotherhood of Gorm, the Warrior Maidens of Matarua, and the Magi of Usamagaris are sending out teams into the underground city of Synodicea to rescue and liberate people. They're people who are not true followers of Zargon, those that are being forced to work and serve the forces of Zargon. And the Synodiceans have taken up refuge. You're no longer in the pyramid exactly. You're actually kind of in the earth, taking up refuge in a giant ant nest. This was a plan that had been kind of concocted by Ariga Cirkinos, the chief magi of Usamagaris, and he had, prior to you all coming here, concocted large amounts of this pheromone that you all, it's kind of become a part of your daily routine to apply this. And so you're able to kind of safely hunker down here among these ants. It's a little bit worrying and jarring maybe to you. These things are gigantic, and should they turn on you, you would have a whole hive of them on top of you. But thus far, there have been no problems or issues. And it sort of serves not only to keep you and the Synodiceans hidden, but the sheer number of the giant ants also serve as kind of a layer of protection that the Zargonites, if they ever find you here, would have a tough time. And so it's sort of a way to cloak the fact that your numbers aren't that many compared to the legions of Zargonites and their goblinoid allies. And so this is where you find yourself at the start of our adventure. These strike teams that are heading out into the city, they're very small, and they're doing very kind of surgical missions just to rescue a few people at a time. And so it's sort of slow going. It's not like the city is going to be reclaimed next week or even in the next month or so. So it's slow progress, but morale is up. Many of the Synodiceans are feeling hopeful. Again, for the first time in over a year, they're actually putting up some kind of a resistance or a fight since the devastating defeat when they lost so much about a year ago now. So that is kind of the broader context of where we're coming into the adventure here tonight. This would probably be a good time for us to check in and get our character introductions right off the get-go. So we'll go one by one, and if you can just tell us character name, class, race, anything you want to tell us about your character. And then question for tonight is, what is one physical possession that you have that you carry with you that means something to you, and maybe the story behind that thing. And so, why don't we first start out with Halibut?
I'm Halibut Frostbeard. I'm a 4th level cleric. My race is Hill Dwarf. My prized possession is my holy symbol. I came into possession of it when it was gifted to me after I became a cleric by the head of my order where I was trained. I was at the top of my class, and I was very proud to receive the holy symbol directly from him. That was just before I was sent out, where I failed to save the entire town where I was, where those people were all died. It was, and my holy symbol symbolizes the last time I was happy.
I don't mean to smile or laugh. It's just that the delivery is pretty great. So that's Halibut. That's who we've come to know as Halibut. Next up, Professor.
Sorry, I was still eating. Professor is a 3rd level wizard, Sandacian, Blaze Sun variety. Well, as for this prized possession that we supposedly have, I mean, I would say my spell book, because that's literally all of my time and effort goes into that thing right now. But my wife would probably be pretty upset with me if I said that, so I'm going to change my sentence to have the lovely wedding gift she gave me being the amulet I received on our wedding day. She was so happy when I saw her again like a couple days ago that I still had it on me, but she's not happy with it now. I don't remember. But also, there's kind of 3 of me now, so there's a little bit of a predicament. If you were to ask me, the son, of course, Anzio, lovely guy, it'd probably be my sword, handcrafted myself. Wonderful features, nice, beautiful curved hilt. Slayed many foes with it, but you know, I'm kind of dead now, so it's not really something I can really argue about. Oh, what about that other fellow? Oh no, you're still here. Sup, Sir Gurnos?
He says sentimentality to physical objects is a waste of effort and passion. We have to ascribe to something higher than that.
Don't tell that to my wife.
I don't want to see her again. She's very angry with me. So yes, the story behind Professor is that he died and was brought back to life by the head of his order. The complication there is there's an island at the center of Lake Moldvay where our last adventure took place, and his wife is hanging out there as a spirit, waiting for her son and husband to come to the island in spirit form, as they have both died at this point. But there is some larger purpose or a prophecy that they must fulfill before that time can come, and so she's been sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting, and had an opportunity maybe to have them both come with her when it was kind of robbed from her by Ariga, who said he needed to borrow them for just a little bit longer. So there are three personalities, one body there, Professor. So next up we have Saffron.
And I am just one personality. I am a gnome paladin. I am a forest gnome, and I am level 2. And my prized possession is my whip. When I was living at home, I used my whip to train small animals. We did not hurt them. We just used the noise to get them to obey. And one day when I was with my cousin, a wolf attacked us, and I was able to protect my cousin Coriander with my whip, which I now use to protect those close to me. So that is my prized possession.
Very good. And then we have Viscount Raymond.
Yep, I'm David playing a human warlock, level 2. He's a minor lord. He's the Viscount Raymond Vrakis, but he really kind of leverages his title maybe more than he should because it makes him feel important. And his most important possession is the orb he wears around his neck. That's his arcane focus. And even though knowledge for him is the most important thing, magic is the manifestation of his mental and internal abilities. So without his arcane focus, he can't access his magic. And even though it's something he took great pains to create and to link with a patron, he was trying to get an infernal patron because it is more in line with his personality. He's kind of power hungry and haughty. He ended up ensnaring a celestial named Nimbo, who's a little bit more lighthearted and kind, so they're an odd duo. But he'll take the power of Nimbo over no power at all. So he knows he needs that orb.
Very good. So these are the 4 player characters that'll be going on the adventure here tonight. So you've all been requested to meet with Pandora, who is the champion of Matarua, their leader. And morning has come. You've attended to breakfast, of course, applying that pheromone, and just doing kind of whatever your morning routine is. And you are now climbing your way up through the tunnels of this giant ant nest. Along the way, you are inspected by a number of these 4 to 5 feet long ants, these soldier ants that come upon you with their mandibles kind of flaring, antennae a little bit wary, but as soon as they approach, they kind of inspect you up and down, and then leave you alone, pass you by with no further harassment. This has become pretty routine. You've tried to adjust to this strangeness, and you realize its utility, but you're probably longing in some ways to not have to be here amongst all of these creatures that are sort of unusual to be seen around.
Would you say we're getting antsy?
You're very antsy, yes. You enter now into a chamber kind of at the top of the nest. The walls here are composed of a mixture of stone, dirt, kind of leafy plant-like material, all sorts of different things that the ants kind of collect on the outside and then bring in here to kind of reinforce the structure of the hive. You see Pandora. She is standing against one of the walls, her back turned to you, but you can see that she is a very tall, athletic woman, wears a bronze mask over her face. It depicts the face of an angelic woman. This is a stylized mask that all of the warrior maidens typically wear. Over her chainmail, she wears a tunic of green, and she has 2 scabbards at her side, both which hold her short swords, which she is very capable. She has a very interesting kind of fighting style that almost looks like a dance of sorts. And she's able to kind of land some very clean blows against her opponents when she does so. As you approach or enter into the room, she begins to speak, and she says, you get the sense that she's looking out, maybe through kind of some holes in the wall, and it would make sense based on where she's positioned that she's actually looking out at the city, the underground city of Synodicia. And she says, ever so slowly we are retaking the city. The Zargonites have had a whole year to perfect their necromancy, and they've created all sorts of defenses. It's going to take time to defeat them all. And they have allies. They are strong in allies. So many goblinoid tribes they have made connections with across the lake. At this rate, it'll be a very, very long time before we can truly claim our city. once again and call it Synodicea. And she smiles warmly as she sees you of all. You're the ones that she has called, and she says, I realize that this is not your fight, but without you, we would have no hope of turning the tide. And still, it isn't enough on its own. Not enough to defeat Zargon. And she is clearly deep in contemplation. She takes off her mask and begins to pace about the room, as if she's trying to figure out how best to convey the task that she's going to set you on. And she looks like kind of intentionally at Halibut for a second. She says, "Did you know that Matarua was immortal? Just like you or I? I'm not sure if it's known where you are from, but all of the immortals at one time were like you and me, walking this earth, bleeding, breathing."
I don't think I'm immortal.
Well, no, we are not. In fact, few ever learn the secrets of immortality, how it could happen, how it could be claimed, and fewer still are those that actually succeed in doing so. But those that do are the ones that make up the great pantheon of immortals that influence things here on our world. When Matarua was still mortal, she had to go through many tasks and trials. I don't even know if I'm sure of all of the stories that go with that path that she went down, but one of the early ones, or maybe even the very first, it is said that she went and initially learned these secrets of immortality from a wise sphinx named Ankara. Ankara's first task, after Ankara deemed her worthy of setting down that path, she set her towards her first task of acquiring 2 blades. One was called Glimmer, and the other was called Night's Edge. She was to acquire these and win these off of a 6-armed demon that claimed dominion over the far reaches of the Valley of Death in the desert that you were crossing before you came to meet us. She had to travel there, and she faced the terrible weather, the sandstorms that you were well acquainted with, the exhaustion, and she arrived after many days of no food or water to her location. And even in the state of fatigue that she was in, she managed to do battle with this thing, and she won. And she claimed those swords. Those blades followed her on every story that made up her path towards immortality. And once she got to the point of leaving and departing our world and finding her way to the outer planes, she had no need of them anymore. And it is said that they were gifted, and she gave them back to our order, and that they are now kept below the stronghold of the warrior maidens. They are said to only be sought in times of great need, and will only be allowed to be wielded by those who can pass tests and trials to assess the worthiness of those seeking those gifts. I myself, as you know, I am very recently come to my position as the champion of the maidens. I was given the key. It was left to me before my predecessor went to fight Zargon, where she lost her life. The stronghold, of course, is occupied, is being held by the Zargonites. It will not be easy to infiltrate and get in there, and that is why I'm enlisting your help. I'm begging you to please come with me. I've heard the stories of your bravery helping the other clans, and she looks at Professor and you. Well, there's there's no one I hold in higher esteem. You helped to make sure that I could come back and that I could even be here to go on this errand and this quest. I don't have much. If it is payment that you need, I'm more than willing to offer up what I have. I can offer each of you 100 gold if you would go with me.
I'll do it if the rest of the group wants to.
Well, of course I will help you. This sounds like a very worthy quest to go on. It will bring good cheer to all those who are fighting to take back their land.
The Viscount gives a slight bow and says, "Of course, champion. We are your allies and will aid you. But instead of the gold, might you have any arcane baubles or items that you may offer to aid us in this?"
Such are the things of the Magi, but I do not know what we might find there. It may not be simply these blades. It could be that Madarua has left other things for her allies.
Very well, we shall see what we find.
And she looks to you, Professor, and she says, "I know that our people, as of late, haven't been seeing eye to eye, but it seems that we are cooperating quite well now. What say you? Would you come and be a guest on this errand and be a guest in our hollowed halls below the stronghold?"
It would definitely be an honor. I do not have need of your gold, for pretty much when we get back to city, we're not going to have to worry about that much later. I don't know about these folks. They may need the money, but I just wish to get our home back.
She says, "On that we can definitely see eye to eye and agree. I think that acquiring these swords, these blades, will be a massive boon to our side and be able to hasten the day that we can do battle with Zargon once more." And so with that, she kind of gives you a time to rendezvous, to give you a chance to do any preparations or things that you might have to do before setting out. But barring those things, in about an hour or so, you regroup and leave the giant ant hive that is your shelter. Is there anything that any of you would like to do specifically before setting out?
I'm going to grab my bracers and tighten up a little bit and cast mage armor.
Sounds good.
Yeah, the Viscount also has mage armor cast. So it looks like there's a layer of gray storm clouds kind of clinging to him. And every once in a while, you'll see a kind of smiley face within those clouds. It's kind of a little joke that Nimbo likes to play on the Viscount.
So it may look a little bit different once you leave the cave. There's not really cloud cover and such up above, but as you get out there, you do see that there's kind of like this orange like haze. There's like light that comes from somewhere, and so maybe in that haze, that's where you'll see that omen from your patron. But yeah, it's kind of a strange thing. It's
the mage. I was gonna say the mage armor itself kind of has a cloud.
I gotcha.
It's the armor of shadows. So yeah, it's around his body.
Gotcha. I misheard it, I think. But yeah, you do. You'll see this once you get out of the cave, that there is like an illumination that seems to come from like somewhere up above on the cavern ceiling. It provides like a dim light throughout. Just to kind of give you a sense of where you're headed, that T that you see on the map is where you're emerging from, and your destination is over here. So you'll have to cross in through the city, which is something that the factions have been doing this like quite a bit in these past few days. They've been, sneaking into the city, kind of liberating people, a family at a time, and bringing them back to the ant nest. And so, kind of the thing of it is, do you see all these like little pillars? These are all kind of constructed stone pillars, but on them is they're all illuminated. And as you draw closer, you can see what it is that there's like phosphorescent like fungi and mushrooms that seem to have been like kind of intentionally grown, kind of in grooves and such on these pillars, and it's what lights up the streets. So those are kind of the areas that need to be avoided a bit, because that is where you could get spotted by patrols of mostly Synodician humans, but there are also patrols of like zombies and things like that they have created to patrol the streets. And there's kind of a martial law feel a little bit, like the Synodicians who aren't true believers of Zargon. There isn't really like, they're not really allowed freedom of movement in the city unless they're being accompanied by either a hobgoblin or one of the true believers, one of the true Zargonites. So we're gonna kind of bypass any like stealth checks and things like that you might have to do while you're in the city, because with Pandora, she's able to get you through here easy enough. As you're kind of going through some of the alleyways of the city, you once in a while come upon a few bodies of zombies that have been dealt with already by some of the other factions, and eventually you get to your destination. And I'm going to pop up just another map so you can get kind of another view of what I'm about to describe. Okay, so I realize you can kind of like see in the inside of this building. That's fine. She'd be able to describe to you what it looks like in there. But the stronghold of Matarua is essentially like a walled. There's a 15-foot wall, high wall that surrounds the perimeter of another structure on the inside, which is a tower that rises up some maybe 50, 60 feet. The wall itself is maybe 12 feet tall. It's not a super tall wall. But what you notice, just kind of coming upon the structure, is that it seems that on the like southern end of it there, this map is north is off to your left, so it's the western side of the building. On the wall, there's like a wooden door that serves as a gate. And on either side of the wall, up above, there's two Synodicians standing guard there. Both wear a mask that seems to have like a horn on the front and sort of a tentacled kind of motif on its front. So they're clearly marked as Zargonites. Also on the wall, you see that there's a patrol of about 4 Synodicians that move clockwise, and they're just kind of patrolling on the outside. They all have crossbows, heavy crossbows in hand.
Are they in a group or are they kind of spaced equally so that one's always kind of on one side?
The patrol, it seems like they move in a pack of 4, so they move together, and they just do. As you're sitting here, kind of observing for a moment, what you're noticing is that they start from the gate, they make a lap around the wall, stop, and then reverse. The entire time looking on the outside of the wall. Anything that you would like to do or discuss as a group as you're looking at this? Really, your goal at this point is, what is the best way to get on the other side of that wall and get inside? Pandora tells you that you need merely to get into the front door of the stronghold, because that is where there's a secret door there that will lead down to the trials.
A secret door by the front, that front entrance.
Yeah, so she tells you just need to get into the very first room of the compound. So your goal would be get into the courtyard and then get into the tower.
Well, I am not very good at finding creative ways to get inside. Any of you have ideas?
I have no spells that can trick them into letting us in or a way to sneak in undetected. Seems to me that perhaps our best bet would be a shock attack on the 2 sentries while the patrol is farthest away from the gate. Unless either the professor or Helibut has other arcane tactics that they might employ.
I have a shovel. We could dig under the wall.
Well, as for tactics, I'm not much in terms of manipulation and that sort of thing. I mean, I can make this little light, whoop, and he just turns it off immediately. And that's about the best of my trickery goes. I mean, I sometimes can turn into like a little misty thing and look like a ghost in of sorts, even though I really look like a ghost already. But other than that, I feel like the best bet is pretty much what the Viscount said.
Not unless she knows of some other way in other than the front gate. I don't think we're going to sneak in.
Pandora would be approving of an action-oriented plan. She has been holed up in the ant's nest for a while. She hasn't been able to be in any battles herself, so she definitely will not dissuade you from such a path.
Well, if it cannot be helped, I will fight the guards as well.
Now, these guards are placed on one on each corner of this wall.
So let's see if I can just throw a few quick tokens out here. There's like one here and one here. But then there's a patrol of 4 that meanders the wall.
So are those 2 standing on the wall, or are they in front of the gate there?
They're standing on the wall. They are wearing studded leather, and they have heavy crossbows in hand. Helibut, why don't you give me a perception check? You're scanning them or trying to see what they're up to.
And how high is the wall again? You said it's about
12 feet.
12 feet.
So Halibut, as you're watching them, they don't seem to be, as far as like security goes, they're not super paying attention to what's going on out on the street. In fact, they both seem to be very much just having like a social conversation with one another. And you keep seeing them, they're pulling out these vials, these like crystal vials, and they are drinking some kind of a liquid out of it. And give me an insight check with your perception check, Halibut. You sort of they sort of look like any of the taverns that you've been in. They're kind of exhibiting some signs of just kind of inebriation. They're kind of swaying a little bit, and they're holding their crossbows very unprofessionally.
There doesn't seem to be very much discipline in the guards that they have there.
I have a probable idea, but I can only fulfill about one part of it, so I need a second part. Does anyone have a way of making like illusory sounds?
Oh, I can do that. I can do minor sounds like a scream or a whisper.
And Halibut would have told us about their getting a little woo-woo on the job. Yeah.
Yeah.
What if we do a sort of scare tactic? Like we have a floating orb, and the orb is speaking to them and ghastly noises.
I think perhaps we are overestimating their abilities. If they're already incapacitating themselves, that might just cause them to alert their allies. I still believe our best tactic is to fire ranged attacks at them to try to either knock them off the wall or just lay them low while their allies are on the far end. And our melee fighters, perhaps the champion and Saffron, can rush forward as we're picking off the people on top of the wall, and we will follow in behind them.
That brings up another idea. Miss Saffron, you use a whip, do you not?
Yes, I do.
Could you perhaps wrap it around someone's ankle and just throw them off the balcony?
Well, the problem is I am very short, and even though I have some range with my whip, I'm not sure if I would be able to get their leg. I could try. Maybe if I sit on your shoulders?
You don't want to sit on my shoulders. I am very frail.
Is
The
there
Viscount just kind of gives you a look of disdain. He does not want to give anyone a piggyback ride.
Well, that leaves the dwarf, which might be better than nothing.
how long does it take them to make their patrol around the wall?
So from so as they would be like, starting from one end of the gate and going all the way around to the other end, maybe about 2 minutes.
Oh,
And then
so
then they turn around and they return.
not very long then.
We should have, but that should be plenty of time for us to dispatch these two. That's many rounds of battle, and I think if we get a surprise attack on them, their constitution is compromised. Let's knock them down one way or another.
I will do my best. There is not much I can do when they're up there and I am down here, but if you can knock them down, I will fight.
Well, even though the other four might not be close, but since it doesn't take them very long to make their circular around, I think they might be within sight, so they might see us when we attack.
There is a tower in the center. If we wait till they are behind the tower, they will not see us, and then when they come around, we'll be ready for them and fire again.
Or run very fast into the tower and go through the secret door.
That is another option if we're not concerned about enemies at our back.
Raymond,
also
make a perception check.
Who?
You, Raymond, or
Okay.
Viscount.
You said a what check? Perception?
Perception, yeah.
Ooh, that's not working. It's telling me only records which you own can be shared. I'm trying to drag the dice into the chat.
If you go to your skills, can you just click on the modifier by
Let me try that.
perception?
Like
Oh,
I think it's a double
there we
click
go.
on the modifier.
It rolled, but it didn't record it. Let me try again.
Oh, okay.
That's even worse. It wasn't great the first time.
So yeah, I was, you look at the tower and you kind of are referencing it, and
But there's still the issue of the fact that if we do dispatch them, the rest of the patrol is going to know that they are gone. Wouldn't it be best if we just try to sneak past them?
Again, if we don't mind that they could be gathering reinforcements while we are in the tower, we can leave the patrol, sneak in after we take out the 2 sentries. If we think they'll follow us or call for allies, then I would say we'd want to take all 6 enemies out before entering the tower.
Is this gate or door? Is it open?
it is not open.
Okay, so we'll have to deal with that as well.
True.
Maybe we should just try to scale the wall on the opposite side when the patrol goes back.
And Helibit, as maybe you're thinking that through, there's nothing on the top of the wall that seems to indicate that they could open the gate. So likely there's at least one person on the other side that actually physically would open the gate.
So we may have to scale the wall regardless of whether that gate is there or not. So
I'd much rather try to scale it without enemies attacking. I personally do not have a grappling hook or any means of quickly and silently scaling a 12-foot wall.
I have a rope, but no grappling hook.
Sometimes might is your most powerful asset. We can always blast through the gate once we finish off the sentries if need be, and then we don't have to worry about scaling a 12-foot wall.
I would also prefer not to alert the rest of the city of our location. This is, in fact, an infiltration mission, not a full frontal assault.
I am open
Mind
to
you,
other
we are
suggestions.
surrounded. I just told you one. They're high on the lovely elixir of fantasy. Their minds are easily susceptible to trickery.
Well,
Let's
you may
just say-
attempt it. I will be ready to attack if it should fail.
Here's what I propose. Saffron, you say you can make mimicry noises?
Yes, I can. I can make noises I have heard before. Very simple ones.
So what if hypothetically, 2 glowing balls of light appear at each side of them and slowly lead them away from the door, while weird ominous noises come from the ball?
I could make some weird ominous noises, like the ants make.
That definitely could work. Or we could just simply ask to open the door.
You could say, I am your god, open the door. But you were saying they could not open the door. They're just guards.
I didn't
Right?
say that. The DM said that. I didn't say that.
Oh, somebody said that.
No, my point was you might be dealing with more than just 2 guards. Doesn't mean that the people on the other side aren't wasted out of their minds too, but that my point was just there might be more than what you can see based on you're just on the street view right now.
Man, another idea I could propose. Me and Pandora, we literally lived here. We speak their language. We could just ask them to open the door and see what happens. Like we were like some reinforcements, if you will.
Do you have one of those ugly masks that they wear?
I'm sure someone does, but I don't think I collected them. I remember their code word though. I do remember that. But Dawson doesn't, but Professor does.
I believe it was oh shoot, what was it?
Yeah, this is sessions ago.
My Life for the Eye, I think is what it was.
Oh,
think
that
that's right.
sounds familiar. I have that written down somewhere. My Life for the Eye. I wondered why I put a box around it like that.
So maybe, possibly, me and Pandora can go up to the gates and try and get him to open it. And then that's when we strike, when the gate is open.
That sounds like a sensible course of action. I will hang back and let you do your attempt at deception.
Pandora just says, well, I'm a little bit disappointed that we're not going to go with the Viscount's plan, but Professor...
No, we are going with the plan. That's step 2. Step 1 is get the door open.
Fair enough. I will go with you. If I'll follow your lead.
That will make the assault easier.
I'm going to put away my mask in the back of my bag. No one can see that. That's gone. I'm going to put on some
Pandora
gloves.
does the same. She removes her mask and stashes it away as you approach.
I'm going to put on some gloves so they don't see my hands. And I guess I'm walking up to the door.
And as you do so, you see both of them kind of almost they like, you know, quickly stash away the vial. They kind of do their best to kind of straighten up, and the one says, You, who goes there?
Hello, brothers. My life for the eye. We've been here to
Oh, my life for the eye. My life for the eye.
Yes. You know your place, boy. I am proud of you. We're here to acquire some items that may have been left behind from the treacherous warrior maidens. Orders directly from the top.
From the top, you say?
Well, not the tippy top. We're not that high ranking, if you know what I mean.
Who sent you?
You know who. Do I need to explain myself, mister? I saw those vials from a mile away with these cranky old eyes. Either you open this damn gates or you'll be reported and sent to Zargon himself.
Make a intimidation check at advantage.
At advantage. Okay.
So they both say, well, you wouldn't really. Everybody imbibes the elixir. It is not a crime.
It is when you're on the job in my presence.
Well, but who are you? I don't recognize you.
My name is well known amongst the ranks. I am the Doctor.
You see them both. They're both like looking at each other, and like neither of them like is readily admitting to the other that they don't know who you are. Then they're just like nodding, like, "Oh, the doctor. Well, do you have a fix, doctor? Running a little low."
You know, I may be able to give you your, let's say, dosage, if you will, if you just open the gate. Do we have a deal? Because I know Professor has at least one vial of the elixir.
Yeah, there's one in the party sheet too.
Yeah, I think that was mine.
Make a persuasion check at advantage.
Oh boy, that is literally the same number as last time. Let's go. Ha-ha!
Wow.
So you pull out the vial and kind of flash it before their eyes, and you see the one start snapping his fingers over his shoulder and looking down behind him. And moments later, you see the door lurch open, and there's another Synodician on the other side who looks equally compromised. And it seems that they're both waving you through. And the guy on the other side is kind of reaching out to take the vial.
Grace, what do you say, my assistant? I'm gonna look towards her, Pandora, as we're walking through the gate, holding up the vial.
You get the sense that like she doesn't want to say anything because like this is out of her wheelhouse to like be deceptive. You know, the warrior maidens are a little bit more direct than this, so she's just like nodding.
Oh, don't worry, I'm like eyeballing her blades. I'm like looking up and down.
She's pretty controlled. Like she's not itching to like reach for her weapons necessarily. It seems like you've got the doors open.
You two, come down here.
And with that, you see them. They're both like moving to the corners here. And when they get to the corners there, it seems like they're maybe opening like trap doors and like climbing a ladder. And so there's kind of a moment here where there's only one person at the gate. The one that was like, the one that initially opened the gate is here.
The Vicon would take this opportunity to try to sneak up to just outside and around the corner of the gate. So if someone were looking out, he'd be like directly below where they wouldn't necessarily look straight down to see him, but he'd be able to like swing through the gate once he hears like the signal.
Make a stealth check to get to that spot. No
Nice.
problem. You get right up there and you're in prime position to slip in once Professor and Pandora have the doorman properly distracted. How about the rest of you?
So I don't understand what our part of the plan is, Helibut. When do we go in? Do we wait here? Do we run in?
I think we should follow Raymond.
He was
knows
very
what he's
quiet
doing.
though. Yes, but I think we're a little more clunky than he is.
Yes, but I think we're going to be needed soon.
Okay. Should we go on the count of 3?
Sure, that sounds good to me.
All right. 1, 2, 3. So I guess now we have the Forge Cleric and the Paladin trying to sneak up
Yep.
to the gate.
You need to clear a 10.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh.
Nice.
you're there?
That's bad.
This is not going to be good.
No. Uh-oh.
And there are no rerolls. Did you have... Well, too late now, I guess. Scott is here. Maybe he's going to buy you one. He just subscribed. I thought I saw him checking the store. But
Oh.
So, Halibut, you go running forward and you trip and stumble forward and fall flat on your face. The rattling of your armor makes a noise, and the four on patrol, hear that. And so...
got it. Got rerolls.
Scott has redeemed rerolls. We want to say too late for this one. We're already
Sounds
past
like
the
we'll
point
need
of...
it.
You might need it, though, yeah. I'm gonna put us in initiative here, and this is gonna be more or less like kind of theater of the mind combat. Let's see. I just want to update our rerolls. So, let's see. What do I want to do here? Okay, give me just 1 second as I set this up. Okay, so they are going to be last. So in total, you're aware of 7 warriors. There are 2 that you currently can't see because presumably they're like working their way through the wall to get to that courtyard at Professor's request. There's 1 at the door where Professor and Pandora is standing, and currently Saffron and Vicon are there kind of on the other side of the wall. And then there's the 4 that are on patrol, and we're gonna say that they're like over on the east side of the wall. They're maybe not fully aware of what's going on yet, but they definitely heard a loud noise on the other side of the wall, and so they've got the little alert sign over their head, and they're probably going to go be checking that out. So that's kind of that's the situation as it stands at the start of initiative. And first up is going to be Vicon.
Okay, so he's just on the outside of the gate. He saw Halibut fall and make a loud noise. I'm wondering if he can like take a couple steps and look through the gate if there's a way for him to shoot the one who is the only one that he is aware of that is down in the courtyard, or are his companions in the way. I want to throw an Eldritch Blast if I can.
Very easy. Yep, he's standing there. Go ahead and take a shot.
Okay. That didn't work. So if I'm under actions and I want to use Eldritch Blast, don't I just drag the...
What you can do is, you see the little magnifying glass next to the Eldritch Blast?
Yeah.
Click that, and then you can click I think you just click the cast button.
Oh, I see. Easy enough. Oh.
That one will miss. Unless you want to use one of your... Oh, did we lose someone?
Looks like Dawson.
Okay. No problem. You've got 4 rerolls, so you could definitely use a reroll if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll use a reroll. Why not? I'm squishy. I want things dead.
The 21 will hit.
Okay.
And 4 points. All right.
And then I will just use my remaining movement to go back to exactly where I was with some cover.
Okay,
So
on the
out, shoot,
on the outside.
hide. Yep. Yeah.
Sounds-
still on the outside.
Sounds good. Oh, I can't move this combat tracker, otherwise it messes it up on the stream. All right, Pandora, seeing that the action is happening, pulls out both of her short swords, one of which has sort of a light blue aura to it. She goes in to kind of double swing at this first warrior. First attack is a 19. That'll hit. She deals 8 points. Second attack also hits. And combined with the damage he took from the Eldritch Blast, she just slices right across his chest, ripping through the studded leather, and he goes down. And then she seems to be kind of like gesturing, like move, like let's roll. And she starts to run through the courtyard this direction.
Toward the patrol up on the wall?
You get the sense that her destination is actually the door leading into the tower.
Okay.
Or at least she's moving in that direction. She herself, she does not have any like ranged weapons or anything like that. Professor, it is your turn.
I think the professor fainted.
Oh, that's right. Why don't we... Should we just take like maybe like a 5-minute pause in the action here and take a quick little break? Give Dawson a little time to come back on.
Yeah.
Let's
he
do
said
that.
his computer overheated and he needs a second, so that
Okay.
should help.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break here. Thanks everyone that was hanging out. We're just rolled into initiative, so they are. We'll see where the action takes us. So we'll be right back in just a moment. All right, we are back, and we had just rolled into initiative here. The characters are trying to infiltrate the stronghold of Matarua so that they can get below its the compound to where there is the promise of maybe acquiring a couple of swords that belonged to the goddess Matarua when she was still immortal. But first, there is the matter of the Zargonite occupation of the stronghold to deal with. And Professor, you are over by the gate. It is your turn. Where we left off, Pandora has just slain the doorman, and she started running towards... She was kind of beckoning you all to follow her, and she seemed to be running towards the door of the tower.
Could you reshare the map, please?
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right, so Pandora just killed the guy at the gate, so that's what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and she started running towards this direction.
Has anyone else attacked anybody at this point?
No. From your vantage point, the only ones that you can see are the guards, the patrol up on the wall. The ones that you had asked to come down have disappeared into the wall, but have not emerged from the doors that would lead into the courtyard yet.
And is the patrolling group of guards noticed us?
What you see right now is they are looking over in your direction. Not really... Well, at this point, they will have noticed that Pandora just killed... or attacked that guard.
Well, that's probably the major thing I was probably concerned about.
They're loading their crossbows for sure at this point.
Should I get within 15 feet of the group?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because if possible, I want to try and get close as I can to do a Burning Hands.
Oh, the group of enemies. Gotcha.
Yeah, the patrol. Or is that too far away?
Probably not on this turn. I'll probably take 2 turns to get over to the wall.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'll keep at pace with Pandora and I'll take the dodge action.
Okay, that sounds good. Next up, Saffron. So you're kind of like right, like over here, I think, on like this side of the wall. You had made it up to the wall right near the gate.
Right. Would I have seen what happened on the I would see Pandora cutting across, right? Because the gate's open.
Yeah.
Okay. Um I will use my action to dash and I will try to catch up with her.
Yeah, easily done. You make it up to where Professor and Pandora are running. Next up is... I'm just going to leave Savoie on here because I don't know what will happen if I delete it off the tracker. So he's here in spirit. Helibet, it is your turn.
Well, I'm gonna go after the rest of the group the best I can. Then try to catch up to them.
Okay, so you're going to dash and get up there?
Whoa, thanks for the gems,
Yep.
man!
Okay, you catch up to the group then as well. So I think that leaves the group is like kind of all together except for Viscount would be like still in the back, I think.
Yeah, I'm still on the other side of the wall, just kind of watching everybody run past me through the gate.
So we turn now to the guards on top of the gate, and thank you for the cheer, Shady Bonsai's out there. They're gonna turn their crossbows on the group here, the group that's together. So we'll do one shot at Halibut, Professor, Saffron, and then we'll roll and then one at Pandora. They'll all kind of spread those shots out. So I'm just kind of rolling off of a stat block I have in front of me because I didn't actually program these guys in, I guess. So a miss. That one was to Helibet. Second one to Professor. A 13 will miss. Saffron. Does a 15 hit?
No, it does not.
And a critical hit on Pandora.
Oh no.
Oof, really bad. 18 points of damage to her.
That would have knocked me down.
I have to heal her again.
She gets shot. It pierces through her tunic and through the chainmail. And you see her kind of yelp in pain as she's continuing to run forward. Her destination is get inside. From there, at the end of their turn, you see anyone that's looking. These two on the sides here emerge. They're in the courtyard now, and you see this one seems to call out to some group on the north side of the courtyard. And I'm trying to think if you would hear anything else. Yeah, you just get the sense that there's a alert that has gone out to some group or some number of maybe other guards that you can't see from your vantage point. So then we go back to the top. It is the Viscount's turn.
All right, he is going to kind of round the corner and do his max movement of 30 feet to get as close to that door as he can and try to keep another party member between him and the crossbowmen up on the ramparts there. But he will, because I don't want to dash. I think I'll use the dodge action as well. I'm not confident that door isn't locked, and I don't want to be exposed to my back to the shooter. So I'm just gonna kind of huddle with the group and use the dodge action.
Sounds good. Pandora continues to move ahead, gets to the door, and opens it. And she's just kind of waiting at the door, holding it open. She hasn't run in or taken cover yet. She's waiting for the rest of the group to catch up, make sure that everyone makes it. Professor, it is your turn.
Knowing our group's going to get harried by more crossbows if these cars aren't dealt with, he's going to move a little bit closer to the group that's on the wall and just going to open his hand and say, hello. Foop. Burning hands.
Sounds good. We'll say you get them all. So you need dex saves.
Yep. DC 15.
15 fail. Success. Fail. And success. So 2 fails, 2 success.
And there's damage.
So 2 of them take 9. 2 of them take 4. Okay. All right, so blast of flame up on the wall. We catch all of them. The 2 in the back are like the 2 that maybe you didn't quite get them all.
And for my bonus action, I'm just going to say, all right, my boy, it's your time to shine. And I'm going to go into Blade Song. Boop.
Sounds good. Saffron.
All right. I want to move up to be by Pandora, by the door. I want to be within 5 feet of her.
Okay. Yeah, easily done. You make it up there. But that would just take like your move to get there. So you still have an
Okay.
action.
I will dodge for my action.
Next up, Halibut.
Halibut will move by Pandora and cast Cure Wounds on her.
So 7 points back to Pandora. Anything else, Halibut? I guess that would be it. Your movement and your action.
Yeah, if I had any more movement, I'd move through the door, but I don't know if that was the extent of my movement.
No, well, yeah, we'll say you're still just like on the very outside of the door there. It then becomes the warrior's turn. 2 of them are going to shoot down at Professor. 16 and 10. The other 2, one of them is going to shoot Halibut, and one of them is going to shoot Pandora. First one at Halibut.
Can I do protection for Pandora?
For Pandora, sure.
Yes.
The one at Halibut misses. The one at Pandora also misses. With the aid of the assist there. This one over here, the one that just appeared out the door there, kind of wobbly aim. It seems like he's having a hard time concentrating and is going to try to hit Vicon. Attack at disadvantage, dodging. Way off, several feet off from even being close to hitting you. This other one is just going to like kind of run up a little bit and is just gesturing. They went this way. They went this way. And then we're back to the top, and it is Viscount's turn.
If I can, I would like to move. Do I have enough movement to get into the tower? Moved as close as I could to the door last time.
Sure, you could do that.
Okay. So I'll go in and I'll use a healing light on, unless I see an immediate threat inside, I would use a healing light on Pandora.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. Healing light. not sure how I can choose the target for that. It just says self right now, but I don't want to do it on self.
Let's see. You have a pool of you just want to roll a d6. I can manually put it in.
Okay. Nice.
So is it 6 points or is there a charisma modifier in there? Okay.
No, just
6 points.
Just the d6. Yep.
She's looking quite a bit healthier now that she's gotten the aid from you and Helibet.
You see the Viscount skulls just a little bit because the healing light is this like bubble bathy pink color, just like bubbly all over her as it heals her, and he's not a fan of that.
She kind of nods to both of you and says a quick, hurried thank you as she pops in onto the other side of the door, and she's going to take a readied action essentially to shut the door once everyone is in. Professor, it is your turn.
Gentlemen, I'd love to stay, but it's my time to go. Bye-bye. I'm running to the door. 40 feet.
Sounds good. Saffron?
I too will go through the door, and I will sit there with my whip. If anybody comes in, I will whip at them. Well, other than my friends.
And Helibet.
I go in and see if there's any way to bar the door after we're in.
Yes. Once you are in, you could potentially do that. It doesn't, the door isn't fitted with that kind of a mechanism, but if you had maybe some pythons to spike, if you pound some spikes onto the other side of the door, you'd be able to like wedge it for a time, or some other solution that you have to do that.
I was hoping that there'd be some mechanism to do it, because I don't think I have anything that I'm carrying that would do that.
Other recourse would maybe be just to hold it, prop yourself up against it and hold the door. You probably have some amount of time before they get there, so there's maybe a couple of turns to figure out how you're going to secure the door. But before we maybe turn to that, let me give you the description of the room that you're in. So all the enemies, they'll take a turn on the outside, trying to get closer to you. Fortunately, the one that was closest to you was the one that was on the Elixir of Fantasy, so you probably don't have the A-team coming after you quite yet. So this entry hall that you enter into is covered by what looks like was once a majestic painting depicting the warrior maidens practicing swordplay and military drills, but it has long since been kind of graffitied and ruined by the Zargonites. Symbols of the eye have been painted on it, not very tastelessly. It's not even like they really took the time to even put their own symbols on it in any kind of artistic way. It was just blatant disrespect and vandalism. There are a pair of 8-foot-tall statues that depict Matarua, a beautiful woman holding a sheaf of wheat and a longsword. These two statues seem like they have been relatively unmarked or unmarred. No one has taken the time really to destroy the stonework. There are 2 wooden doors on either side of the statues, but Pandora almost immediately pulls out a key from her pack and moves forward. And she moves to right here and kneels. She says, "We've made it. this is where we can descend. As she puts the key into an almost imperceptible keyhole, she twists it and it makes a click. As she does this, you watch as the column in front of her suddenly transforms from the look of the porcelain-looking woman to a horned monstrosity with a single eye. Cracks and crevices in the stonework begin to ooze pus and black ichor, and tentacles emerge to lash out at her. I don't think anyone's actually seen a depiction of Zargon quite yet, but that's what this is transforming into, is Zargon, essentially. So there's a image of what more or less these statues are kind of transforming into. And one second as I set this up. All right, so it's going to make an attack roll on her. Rolls a 23 and hits her for 7 points of damage.
So she put a key into a hidden slot, and from our perspective, it looks as though that triggered the statues to change.
It's hard to say if that was really the trigger or if it was just by her presence, near the column. Yeah, I don't know if you can make that linkage that they're connected or not.
But I wouldn't suspect her of sabotaging us or anything like that. It's not as though she lured us into a trap or anything like that. It's just she's as surprised as we are.
Yeah, and she's just been attacked by this tentacle, and she's already kind of down hit points, so
Okay.
It would seem strange that she would be in on some kind of foul plot here. So yeah, what did I say? 7 points she takes, and then we will roll another initiative quick. And Pandora is at the start of this initiative here. Oops, I gotta roll my character in. Okay. All right. Yes, so Pandora's up first. She stands, and she, with her short sword that is glowing blue, strikes back at the thing that just attacked her, and gets a 15, which hits, dealing 8 points to the column. And then a second attack. Also hits. As she does so, you notice she did a fair amount of damage with that first blade of hers, but this second one that follows up, it seems like it merely scratches the surface of this Zargon kind of effigy. So 2 additional, 1 additional point. Okay. All right, next up is Professor.
I'm back. Making note of that and seeing how a normal blade probably won't do too well, he'll pull out his silver dagger and take a strike. Are they within the statue within 5 feet of each other, or no?
No. You only see this on the one statue that is.
Gotcha. Then he will just. He will instead pull out his tiny little bell and cast Toll the Dead on it.
Okay. Let's see. Con.
It is a wisdom save.
Wisdom. It will fail.
I'll drop the damage in the thing. Boop.
9 points. as the toll of that bell rings out, you just see the whole thing kind of shudders, and like a ton of stonework just falls. Like it almost like you cracked the outer like shell of this pillar, and it like dispenses with all that shambling ruin just falls off of it. It has a very much a diminished form, but still lashing out.
And I will move within melee of it.
Next up is Saffron.
All right. Well, I have a fancy sword that I think I'm going to try to use on this thing, because my whip might not be so good against this stone. So I will try to make a long sword attack with the long sword +1. I'm not used to these weapons. It misses. I'm sure.
It does. Unless you want to use a reroll.
No, I'm not going to use a reroll.
So,
but I would like to try to position myself within 5 feet of a weaker party member. I don't know how close the Vicount is going to get, but he would be my first person I would want to protect. Pandora would be my second.
Okay. Pandora is up there within 5 feet of it. So somewhere on the outside, the Zargonites are moving and getting themselves into position. Helibet, it is your turn.
Helibet moves up and attacks with his warhammer.
That one will miss.
And he's going to do a bonus action of spiritual weapon.
Okay. Go ahead and make that attack.
Now that one is, let's see.
Oh, wow.
Yep, that'll hit.
Oops.
Spiritual weapon smacks into the column, and it like cleaves the form of Zargon. I don't know if you can see this image. I'll hold it up here quick. This is kind of like what the column looks like the stonework, almost like it's almost like a Han Solo and carbonite kind of thing, like coming out of the column. And so when your spiritual weapon comes down, like it cleaves, it like creates a cleft right in between the form and the column itself, and the form comes crashing down and shatters into a number of large pieces on the ground. And at that point, with the threat having been taken out, Pandora opens up. She finds she sticks her sword into a crevice where the trapdoor is and manages to pull that up now that it is unlocked. There is a wooden ladder, or there's a stone staircase that leads down, and she ushers you all. She says, "Hurry. Without the key, they won't be able to follow us down." And with that, you make your way down. And let me pull up another map. And so you descend down the staircase into very musty smelling leads you down to a very musty smelling kind of corridor. But up ahead there's a light, and you move ahead and you see that it opens up into a larger chamber where there's a number of seemingly ever-burning torches on the walls. And on both, they seem to be kind of positioned to specifically to illuminate a couple of frescoes on the wall. Both of the frescoes show artwork that seems to depict a very familiar-looking character. The character that was on those beautiful statues up above is prominently featured in all of these little pieces of artwork that adorn the walls. Up ahead, there's a passageway that continues on to the north. North being this direction because we're in weird map trajectory, and so yeah, you see those two similar looking statues flanking that exit out of the room.
So was that something you were expecting, or is that new?
Oh, that is of course some kind of trickery, some kind of manipulation by the Zargonites. It is utter blasphemy that they would take our holy statues, our images of the holy Matarua, and transform them into that grotesque being. The Zargonites have no respect. They care for nothing other than their dark master.
What are the chances that those kind of things would have followed down here as well?
If they followed down here, I don't know what we can trust in. This is a sacred ground, only fit for those that Matarua deems worthy. I would hope that the defenses and the protection of our goddess would prevent these types of things from happening, from allowing them to infiltrate her holy ground.
Yes, I hope as well.
Champion Pandora, do you need any more assistance with your health?
She says, I'm a bit wounded, but I think I'll be okay for the time being.
Very well.
I fear we probably have many tests and trials ahead of us. I would hate for you to expend all of your effort trying to keep me alive. Really, the most important thing right now is acquiring what we've come here to find.
Well, it seems obvious that we should give those pillars, the statues ahead, a wide berth, given what we saw in the chamber above.
I think caution is wise here.
Well, I can try something. I can do a divine sense and get a little closer to the. I won't get really close, but I'll get just a little closer. If that's is the door shut, or can we see it?
There's actually no door there. It's just an open tunnel that leads further on.
For some reason, I cannot move my character past that. Like, it feels like there's a door, but I can move her in the hall. Okay, now I can move. It was weird. So I will move up to about here, and I will do a divine sense to see if I can sense any fiend, undead, celestial, or see if anything's been desecrated.
You do not. You do not feel any of those things.
Okay. Well, I do not know for sure, but it seems okay to me.
Pandora just takes a moment and she's kind of looking at the frescoes herself. She says, wow, it for me, it feels so humbling to be here. Only former champions have ever even touched down in here, let alone I know of no one who has ever braved the trials ahead. And so she's just kind of in awe of this kind of epic that has been laid out here in the artwork.
Viscount is looking at the walls as well, trying to see if there's any arcane lore or knowledge or secrets he can ascertain from anything.
Let's see. Are you looking at the wall closer to you or the one that Pandora is looking at?
He's kind of just walking the perimeter. He doesn't want to get past here per se, but he's kind of just trying to see if there's anything on the walls, if there's any mosaics. If not, then he would probably proceed over by Pandora.
On the northern end there, the one that you're looking at, seems to be a number of scenes that are kind of laid out. In the very first one that you see on the far left, it seems to be this woman, the angelic faced woman, standing with sort of an amused look on her face as there is a man with a crown on his head, very young looking, who's on bended knee, seemingly a marriage proposal of some sort. And there is like an inscription there that is written in Synodician.
I have the ability to read any language.
Okay.
So what does it say?
It says, after a lifetime of refusing marriage proposals, Ashtat accepts Prince Tircis's proposal and becomes Queen of Synodicea.
The Viscount reads that aloud in a very "I'm so smart" tone of voice.
Pandora like immediately flashes a look over in your direction and looks like puzzled and almost like betrayed, maybe.
Whatever is the matter, champion? Has something I said offended you?
Let me see that. And she comes quickly running over and looks at the same mural that you're looking at, and she's like, marriage proposal? But and she looks to you and she says, so Ashtat, that must have been Matarua's mortal name. But that doesn't make any sense. She was known for turning down the proposals of men, her whole entire life.
Maybe you are the matrons, not the maidens of Mata. After all, huh? Mata. I can't say her name. Matarua?
She says that could... No. No. This doesn't make any sense. And she's just kind of scanning and looking about. She looks at like the next panel, which Viscount, you see, it shows a number of life events, like, wedding day, birth of a son, and there's the panels. They all say things like the wedding of Queen Ashtat and King Tircis. The Prince Oroth is born. There's another one that says King Tircis dies of pestilence. And then there's another one that says Queen Ashtat abdicates the throne to Oroth and embarks on quest for immortality. The next one shows Ashtat speaking with Sphinx in a cavern, and then she is shown fighting a demon with a lower body of a great serpent and the upper body of a female with 6 arms, each wielding a sword. She seems to strike a mortal blow, a short sword right through the demon's chest, and the panel there says, Ashtat slays the Marileth and claims Glimmer in Night's Edge. But even with all of that, Pandora is fixated on this first panel and puzzling through this.
Maybe it is part of the trial. It is testing your faith.
She says, no, it's just... It's just it's like learning that lesson that you learned of history or something you've been taught your entire life is not true. I'm just not sure what to make of it. I just don't understand why this event would be kept out of everything that we have been taught.
Perhaps it was simply de-emphasized over the centuries, falling in the shadow of her greater deeds later in life. I would not worry over much about it if I were you, champion.
Professor, there's a voice in your head that says, the warrior maidens have much to learn.
Well, if it means anything, we are typically the ones who write down the history of our people, and maybe somewhere along the lines this got left out.
Or maybe we needed to protect certain secrets to protect the future of our people.
All a definite option. Well, my time's up. Time to give it back to my dad. I'm back, everybody. How are you doing?
You were here all along, Professor. I do not understand.
You know, I feel like the Great Divine Gate is like keeps shunting me out of my internet connection. I don't understand.
Is there any more to be gleaned here, or shall we proceed?
Has anyone heard of the Prince Orath, who then became king? Is that part of your stories, Professor?
Well, they're not stories, they are history. But if I recall... Do I remember anything of the sort?
You could make a history check.
Also, could you reshare the map with me again before my thing crashes again for some reason?
Sure.
Thank you.
So Tirsus was definitely like a name of a king, not necessarily a notable king or anything, but probably reigned over Synodicea when it was still above ground before the Synodicians came underground. So this would have been hundreds upon hundreds of years before the reign of King Alexander and Queen Zenobia.
Well, he was definitely royalty, but this is way, way before our time down here. Even before our great King Alexander. Quite puzzling.
The son, Oroth, you maybe recall, these are just like kind of random facts, like he was assassinated by enemies, unknown. There's kind of speculation that was during a time when the three factions, well, actually it predates the factions, but just kind of he was killed, somebody else took power. These things happen in these kingdoms and whatnot over time, and so nothing really notable about it though. You just remember the names. And so maybe the significant thing, well, so that's the history. I'll let you make an insight check. So the reason that this could be significant is that family line would have led to King Alexander and Queen Zenobia, which would mean that Matarua, Ashtat, when she was immortal, that her bloodline follows the royal line.
Well, there is something to be said here indeed. It would appear that if everything written here is true and my history notes are correct, technically, Ashtet, or Madarua, if you will, is kind of the great ancestor to our great King Alexander.
when you say that, Pandora goes from puzzled and like kind of confused to, oh. Well, now that is an interesting bit of history, Professor.
Yes, something to keep in mind once we free your lost city and your tribes form one nation once more. You have more in common than you care to admit at times, it would seem.
She says, that is true, but the bloodline of our rulers is long gone. It died out with King Alexander and Queen Zenobia. But it is interesting. Anyway, these are stories that the historians can piece together and make significance of. For now, we are here to acquire weapons. We are here to acquire the things that will allow us to defeat Zargon and his loathsome allies. And she kind of makes her way to the hallway and begins forward.
The Viscount will follow her, kind of watching the statues as he passes by them.
Fortunately, these statues remain statues, and you pass by safely. And on the other side, there is a stone door, which Pandora quickly moves to open.
Wait. Do we have to be careful? What about trials? Would they cause dangers on the way?
And as she's like in mid opening the door, she says, "Oh, I should be more careful."
Yeah, the Viscount, remembering crushing walls earlier, took a huge step out of the hallway as she opened the door just to be on the safe side.
So, no problems at this one as she opens it. You can see there's a big, wide, circular stone chamber. Pretty nondescript. There are no frescoes or artwork or anything like that on the walls. The only things of note are the fact that there's a stone door on the eastern side of the room. On the western side, there are 3 wooden doors that seem to segue out of the room. Towards the stone door on the eastern side of the chamber is a throne, upon which you see that there is an elderly woman that seems to be sitting there with a cowl over her face. She doesn't seem to react much more to the opening of the door other than to sigh. It's very dark in here, but you're just getting kind of some ambient light from the previous room kind of filters in, just enough that you get this kind of almost gloomy silhouette of this woman.
Anyone else need light? I cannot see in the dark. I can cast a cantrip if we are agreed that is the prudent choice.
There is an old woman sitting on the throne. She'll just kind of say that in kind of a loud stage whisper to you because you said you can't see. So trying to be helpful.
Can everyone else see in the dark? Am I the only one? Champion?
I think
I can see in the dark.
Pandora says, years of our people have adapted quite well to the dark. I can see fine enough for myself.
if you want, I can make you some globules to help you see a little better.
I can manage my own light. My concern was that I didn't want to be disrespectful to the champion's holy area here. Do you have any objections with me conjuring some light?
She's not at all.
All right, I'll use a cantrip and cast light on my orb, so it's almost like a beacon going out around me.
As you cast the light, the woman on the chair kind of says, "Come forth. You've come a long way seeking the blades. I am the keeper of those swords that you seek, the same that were wielded by Madarua many aeons ago. If you wish to wield them, you will need to show yourselves worthy of the gift. Behind me is a door which can only be opened by a key which I possess. I will give it to you if you can choose from the warriors behind those doors behind you. Behind those doors are 3 warriors. If you can choose the one who is the most honorable, I will give you this key. If you choose incorrectly, you must forfeit the possibility of claiming the blades.
Oh no, it is a puzzle. I am not very good at puzzles. How do we know if they are honorable? Can we speak with them? I'll step up so I can actually talk to her a little bit. I'm still kind of shouting from the hall, though, because no one else is coming in.
She says, "You call it a puzzle, I call it judge of character. Do you understand? Yes, you may speak with them. You must see if you can see through their stories. Judge them not by what they say, but what they don't say, what they aren't telling you."
Well, I hope you understood that, Professor. It makes my brain hurt to judge on what is not said. Does that make sense to you?
Possibly. Definitely a probability. But, you know, I'm only 1/3 of a person at this point. I'm not the great judge of character.
Mr. Helibet, are you a good judge of character?
No.
I predict we will have most success in this endeavor.
The Viscount kind of has a long-suffering sigh and says, "I have been a part of courtly intrigues all my life. I am no stranger to deception. It seems to me we must interrogate these 3 would-be heroes and make a decision. So let us speak with them, starting with the nearest one, and make our way around."
I think the nearest one you're referring to is the one that's on the left there. I don't know. My thing crashed again. It's really making me upset.
Oh, no, I think it's the wooden doors, right? That we go through to ask the... That's where the warriors are?
Yeah, so you open this door, and you've got the light. It leads into just a small chamber, and like just strangely, like there's a person standing in the center of that room. Well, actually, no. A woman who she's kind of like lying on her side, and there's like a little bit of blood that seems to have stained the stonework, and she looks like she is in pain. She's wearing a suit of chainmail, not unlike what the warriors of Madarua would wear. Yeah, she's just kind of like favoring her leg, and she's lying on the ground, and she kind of looks up. She notices the light, it seems. She says, "Oh, water. Do you have water?"
Let me see. You would think I would be carrying water, but it does not look like I have any. I am so
I
sorry.
will give you some.
If you have like a water skin and it says empty, it likely isn't anymore.
I don't even have that. I have an iron pot.
I have a bag of sand. I'm the opposite.
My items
I have a water skin.
Okay. You pull that out, and she seems to be kind of reaching for it. "Please, sir."
You may quench your thirst.
And you give it to her, and she drinks from it, almost like a person that hasn't had water in days. She points to her leg, and she says, I'm badly wounded."
How did this happen?
Well, of course, I was with my sisters. We were defending our village when we were come upon by a tribe of hobgoblins. We put my life on the line and, well, we did our best to protect them. But I was badly wounded.
Do I believe her?
You could make an insight check. She seems to be fairly vague about the battle that she was in.
There's something I'm not quite understanding here. We've fought hobgoblins before, and I can, as you are aware, can speak from experience twice over now. They don't take survivors. So why are you still alive?
I am the only one that has survived. We managed to win the fight, but at great cost.
Let me examine your wound. Perhaps I can help. I'd like to examine to see what may have caused this wound.
Yeah, make a medicine check.
Okay.
I can help if you want.
Okay.
Trust.
So you could take advantage, so you could roll again and take the better of the two. Okay. So, with the help of Helbet kind of points out a couple of things to you as you're examining her. She does have a number of piercing wounds, but they're like all on her back or the back of her calf. So it looks like a number of like arrows had pierced her.
From behind.
Kind of kneel down and look her in the eye and say, "My lady, it appears as though these wounds were fired at your back. Are you the only survivor, perhaps because you left your comrades during the battle to save yourself?" And that can be intimidation if you you want it that way, but he's very much subtly accusing her.
Her eyes kind of well up in tears, and she kind of grabs like your piece of your clothing and kind of a pleading like you have to understand, I have a son back home. I didn't want to see him. I didn't want him to think I abandoned him.
The Viscount stands, kind of flourishes his cape as he spins around and leaves the room and says, "She is not the one. Let us move to the next room."
Well, we don't know who the other ones are. They may have less honor than this one.
We shall see. He just closes the door behind him.
Yeah, like your last scene of her is her eyes, like her face, both her palms are just like covering her face, like kind of a cast of she's ashamed of what she did, but you know, that was, if you can believe what she said, that was her motivation for fleeing that battle. So you close the door.
Shall we see who's behind door number 2?
You open up
No
the
arguments. He just opens it.
yeah, you open up the second one, and in the middle of the room, you see there's another warrior. Looks very similar to the garb that the maidens would wear, suit of armor, green tunic and such. She looks older than the previous woman that you talked to, maybe like maybe like early 50s. Definitely has a very steely kind of face, like the look of a warrior, like a really hardened person. She's got a number of scars on her body. She's seen her fair share of battle. And she just kind of arms folded as she looks sort of intrigue as you open the door.
Greetings, my lady. We have come to learn about you and your life.
My life. I lived a life being led by people, by poor leadership. Constantly, I was disappointed in the failings of my superiors. A person can only put up with that for so much. After seeing battle after battle, lives lost, mistakes on the battlefield resulting in the deaths of neighbors and friends, I abandoned that position. I fight for no one. I fight for myself. I became a gladiator, a sellsword.
Why were you never promoted yourself?
Because when it comes to the world of war, leaders tend to fail up. The cowards rise to the top. Those that weren't willing to put their life on the line, they're the ones that worm their way into their cozy positions of privilege.
And why do you fight as a gladiator? What is the purpose other than entertaining someone?
I get to choose my fight. I get to choose my price. I fight for no one but myself. I earn good money.
Would you say you lived an honorable life?
What is honor? Many of the people that I agree. I've seen many men claim that they are honorable only to get drunk, kill. What code? They speak of a code that they themselves can't uphold. Ideals that are impossible for any mortal to achieve.
I, for one, appreciate your candor, and I can appreciate your worldview as well. Whether or not you are the answer to this riddle put before us remains to be seen, but I have no more questions for you. And he just kind of leaves, and if anyone else wants to ask her questions, they may.
She seems to have lost her way. I can understand that.
Or found it.
This is very sad. I do not like this place. Everybody here is just in such despair.
Let us see what door 3 holds.
After you, cleric.
You open that door, and on the other side is a very young warrior, maybe early 20s. She's very fit. Her tunic is like well pressed. She's just kind of glowing, and she just has this like very sort of upbeat kind of demeanor. As you open the door, she kind of flashes a smile and seems to gesture for you to enter the chamber. She sort of looks like she's like maybe in the midst of like polishing her sword. She's got maybe some oils out and kind of wiping it down, cleaning it.
You seem to be rather young. Have you even seen battle yet?
Well, of course I've seen battle. I'm actually just cleaning my sword now, having just succeeded in my in a bout of victory with my sisters.
For whom or what do you fight?
Well, I fight for Matarua, of course, for my sisters, for the glory of battle, winning. for her honor.
And what was your victory you claimed this day?
Well, we just defeated a number of jackalwares that had been harrying our people.
How did it go?
Well, it was very successful. We wiped them out. They will not trouble us again. Every single one of them that I saw, I struck first. I was so fast. We were very quick to eliminate the enemy.
So you killed them without mercy, without even a thought.
Well, they are monsters. They are predators. We had to slay them.
Were they encroaching upon your territory? Had they attacked first, or had you simply stumbled across them?
Oh, we've heard stories of them from afar, traveling as they would from town to town, killing livestock and such. We had to strike first. It was only a matter of time.
Do I believe everything she's saying?
Go ahead and make an insight check. It's kind of hard to say. She seems very proud of what was accomplished in this campaign against these jackalwares that she is speaking of. So there could be some embellishment to what she is saying, but you think probably for the most part, you believe that her story. But it does come with a little bit of a, little bravado.
I think I understand the nature of these three choices. I would like to confer with the champion, unless any of you have further questions of them.
Do they seem like real people? Like alive, living people?
Make like an Arcana check.
Okay.
They definitely don't. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for them to be secreted away like this in this place. It seems like it's this is a projection of some kind, an illusion.
Okay.
It is a test.
But they seem so real at first. I just felt so sorry for them, But I understand now. This is a trial for us to determine the answer.
I guess the thing you can't be certain of if these are echoes of the past, were these real stories,
Right. But they're not like trapped in these rooms.
Yeah, no.
Gotcha.
Something just doesn't sit right with me right now.
And what is that, Professor?
None of them display what one would consider to be honorable in certain circumstances. The first one we've met fled from battle for fear of her own life in which she would lose. The second, however, lived her life for battle, but then turned her back on it. Just because things weren't going her way. She turned her back on her own people. The last one, her hubris is getting the better of her. She strikes first, does not tactically assess the enemy. She just assumes if they are not them, they are the enemy.
And that is why it is so challenging. I think the first one could have left for herself, but it could have been for her son. And that is a little different. The second makes no lies about what she fights for anymore and is honorable in that way. And the third has an honor of youth and passion, but does not understand yet how to be discerning in battle. They are all flawed.
That is why I would like to confer with the champion to see who among these perhaps was most like her goddess before she ascended. Did she go off to fight the Merilith out of a sense of proving herself on her own terms, like the older woman in the second chamber? Or did she leave her post as a ruler in order to become a better protector for her people, such as maybe the woman in the first room who did the unexpected but for perhaps compassionate reasons? Or was she like the woman in the third room who lusted only for battle and to become greater in battle? I could see all three of them perhaps reflecting certain aspects of her goddess, but what I'm most interested in is what were Matarua's motivations for ascending to godhood in the first place.
Oh, but Viscount, what if it is all the same woman at different stages of her life? Wouldn't that be like one answer divided in three, like our professor here?
That is very insightful.
Unexpectedly so, yes.
I once in a while I get a glimmer of idea.
Matarua, or sorry, not Matarua. Pandora says, she's just puzzled, and she's looking at all the doors, and she says, "Well, I don't presume to know. I don't presume to know what Matarua was, especially now after learning this news that I don't know as much about my goddess as I thought, but." And she points at this one, and she says, "I understand the woman's need to get back to family, but abandoning your post, abandoning your sisters in battle, that's not honorable. I can't agree with that." And she points straight forward to this one, and she says, "It is always good to question leadership, but I just don't know if I can endorse what honor there is in disobeying honors or leaving your squadron, leaving your people. No, I really like." And she points at this door. "I like this one. She has spunk."
She certainly seems to be the closest to the incarnation of your current order of warrior maidens. My concern is it seems too obvious of an answer, and perhaps because you don't know as much about the woman who lived as a mortal, but only have developed a culture over the centuries, that maybe that is not the right answer, though it seems obvious. That is why I am curious, and Professor, perhaps you know from the histories more about Ashtat during her life and what kind of woman she was and why she might have gone to fight the Merilith, gain these weapons, become an immortal. Professor?
Sorry, I'm still trying to work out this weird contraption that's not working in my notebooks. It's really making me upset. But as for the potential history along with it, I don't think that's going to be much of a circumstance here. But you do bring up a very excellent point. Miss, and he's gonna gesture to the woman that's on the chair.
Mm-hmm.
Could you please rephrase the question you wish to be answered?
She says, "In order to receive the key from me, you must choose from the warriors behind those 3 wooden doors who is the most honorable."
Can you tell us how you define the word honor, my lady?
I am trying to assess how you define it.
I have a weird idea or thought.
Speak your mind, then.
On a technicality, from a perspective standpoint, these three women are all in these rooms behind wooden doors. But also, herself, who's on the chair, has been here for I have no idea how long. She has stood guard here for centuries. And probably from the perspective of these women, she is behind the wooden door. Unlike them, she manned her post. She did not run away from her post. She judges before she makes decisions. Maybe she is the one. It's all speculation.
It certainly is a possibility. If we must choose, though, of the three behind the doors, I personally believe all three women believe they possessed honor. They all had their own definitions of honor. So I tend to agree with our paladin friend here that they're all three equally honorable by their own definitions. So she is trying to determine our definition of honor. Is it honorable to fight jackalwares when you have the advantage and yes, you are protecting, but there's no danger, no true danger to yourself because you have the superior force? Is it more honorable to go your own way? You could argue that Ashtat abandoned her people by abdicating the throne. It's all a matter of perspective. So we can give an answer that we think is correct for us, but I suspect we are supposed to give the answer that the lady over there on the throne believes is honored. We need to tell her the answer she wants to hear. We can try your way, Professor, to see if she will accept herself as the answer. To me, that is as worthy a course as any of the other three. Because I tend to agree with the older warrior in door number 2. Honor is abstract, it's flexible, it is mutable.
What do you think, Halibut? This is really confusing me as well.
I'm not sure what to think, but the older warrior is one that I can relate to. She has lost her way, and I can understand that. The optimistic young warrior, I cannot. That's one that I've left behind. I am no longer optimistic, so I once felt like that, but not anymore.
Shouldn't we all get our own choice of answer? I don't understand why we even must all come up with one collective vote here. If the champion wishes to go with door number 3 and she is wrong, then she is not worthy of the swords. If I say door number 2 or all 3 and that is not the correct answer, then I am not worthy of them. If you, Professor, say the woman on the throne and you are right, then you are worthy. What
if you go on the other side of the door and you be one of the warriors and you can be the honorable one?
The old woman on the throne is just like kind of chuckling a little bit.
Wait. I just thought of a really strange idea.
What is
Miss Pandora, could you please step behind one of the doors?
She does so.
There we go. A warrior with honor behind one of the wooden doors.
I agree.
She did not abandon her people.
No, in fact, she's
risking her life to come here in order to reclaim the city from this evil force. She put herself at risk to help others. That is quite honorable, if you ask me.
Yes, I vote for Pandora as well. I've seen her fight with honor.
She has laid down her life for her people. I was at the battle where she was slain and revived. If anyone among her order has honor, it is she. How can we speak for these dead people who we've only spoken to for a few moments? And how does one measure honor through one's entire life or through one's actions in the present? I am satisfied with giving that answer.
Pandora's very pale skin is flush with a red hue, and she says, I am not used to such pleasant things being said about me. I don't think of myself in this way, but I'm flattered by this praise that you lavish upon me.
See, she is humble as well. That is very honorable.
Yeah, more humble than the woman behind door number 3.
The woman... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. I was just going to finish by saying, it is a foolish trial to try to play at this riddle when we already have someone with us who we know collectively is the most honorable of anyone here. So I would agree, Professor. Let's give that a try. If we're wrong, we will deal with the consequences.
The old woman on the chair says, your answer is acceptable. Pandora is a worthy leader of her people, of my people. But I would also suggest to you that that same person behind those 3 doors had a different sense of honor at different stages of her life. And that honor and virtue is earned and developed over the course of a lifetime and may fluctuate and mean something different to an individual depending on where they've been and what it is that they hold dear to their heart, whether it be a child at home, whether it be making people above them proud, or whether it is fighting for your own self.
Saffron was right.
And the door behind her, she kind of holds up the key for whoever will claim it and gestures towards the door behind her.
Oh, I think you should take it, Pandora. You are following in the footsteps of your goddess.
And she takes it and inserts it into the keyhole and opens the door behind her, which opens up into a well-lit room behind her. As you pass through the door and into the next room, this one is filled with light from torches on the walls. Dust on the floor has collected in grooves that cover rows of 5-foot square tiles. On the opposite wall, there is a solitary arch that leads to the room, from the room to a door over here. On the etching of the wall on the northern side is this inscription that says, 8 appear before your eyes, and 8 remain in schooled disguise. Avoid all magic in this room, lest reckless steps ensure your doom.
Well, they mentioned the number 8 in magic. I am well versed in this sort of things. It's probably representing the 8 schools of magic. Haha. My intellect saves me now.
The magic 8 ball.
Yes, I do see abjuration spelled out near the middle row.
I also see evocation spelled out as well, about
Oh,
20
I see
feet that way.
necromancy. Yes. Oh, that is so smart. Illusion. Yes.
I don't see the other ones. I just saw the evocation one. My
Oh, but-
eyesight's not what it used to be.
But we're supposed to avoid magic, yes?
Yes, so we must take a path that does not touch any of the words of the schools or the word magic, I assume. If you look on the far right of the room, we should not follow that wall.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Oh boy, that would have been bad.
What if it goes backwards or forward? Because it looks like right in front of you, Professor. Is that an A? Or it looks like a backwards magic.
It is.
Oh. I think it's supposed to be a backwards magic. Also, I think it would confuse if you try to do the reverse of letterings in some words and then not in the others. I think it's more of artistic design. I'm just not
I
gonna
would not
step on
step on
these.
the backwards magic.
I'm just gonna just leave these things again, and now my computer's still crashing.
Oh, no.
So the one thing I will mention here is it's totally possible to jump and move 5 feet ahead and skip a tile.
It seems to me the G in the bottom left is where we would want to start. Jump over the C in the backwards magic and start with that G. That does not seem to be attached to any word. Whereas necromancy and magic vertically bar us from going anywhere near the right part of the room.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. We would get stuck. We have to start. Well, do you want to go first? Since you are so good at recognizing the magics?
There's another magic over on the right side going down. 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Vicon's gonna try to jump to this G.
okay, you do so. Nothing happens.
And then let's see.
Well, you don't want to step on the E that's in front of you, not right in front of you, but
No.
or the MAGIC after that.
I move to that one.
Nothing happens.
Okay, quick. Next person starts so we can follow. I will follow you. I will jump to the G.
And he's just gonna walk this corridor between evocation and necromancy.
Did you step on that N?
The one that had in.
Yeah, you don't want to step on that N. If you did, you'd want to jump
Did you
over
step
it. 'Cause
there?
it's divination.
I did step there. Yeah, I missed divination.
Let's see. Make me an intelligence saving throw. Okay. You felt for a second your vision almost like you were about to go blind, but you managed to shake off the effect. It would have made it very difficult for you to navigate the rest of
I turn back to Saffron and say, "Don't step there."
Well, I can kind of see that. Yeah, okay, I will not. I'll move to the I, though, where you had been.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody want to follow? It's easier to do it one step at a time.
I will follow.
Pandora will follow as well.
All right. So I'll go to the B, but not.
All right, nothing happens.
But not to the I. That looks like.
Transmutation.
Yeah, we're not going to do that one. So I'll jump over the I to this T.
Okay, you're safe.
All right, I'm going to jump over to the O, and then I'll just follow that step behind, so then everybody can follow me as well.
I'll just assume Professor's kind of coming along here.
I don't want to step on Conjuration,
No, that would not be good.
so I will jump over.
Wait.
Wait, no, that's enchantment.
It's enchantment. You don't want
to do
that.
that. No. Might have to jump over to this G then. Doesn't appear to be part of the word magic.
You're safe?
Okay.
Bloop.
Enchantment. Yeah, so now we have to start going back the other way, perhaps. Gonna jump back over to this M then.
You're safe?
Bloop. You are doing such a wonderful job up there, Vicon.
Don't want to go to abjuration, but I think if I go to this E, I will be okay.
You're safe?
Can I jump over the B to the G?
You're safe?
All right. Takes a moment to kind of look around. What other words are around him?
There's a
Divination.
magic right there. Don't touch it. As my thing crashes again.
Right.
That's all I can help you with.
You don't want to go to your left. That is
No,
still
I did-
divination.
Yes. But up isn't magic, is it? I'm not seeing it.
No, I don't see it either.
You're safe?
Is that where you were? I'm trying to follow you right behind while looking ahead.
We know transmutation is root obscuring that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go here.
You're safe?
And here.
You're safe?
And I don't believe the A is going to be.
Don't do it. There, it says magic right there. I can see it through the stream.
It's a diagonal one. MAGIC.
Careful.
Jump over the A to the E.
You're safe? And from there you could kind of swivel around the corner and safely get to the door. So nicely done. You managed to get through. Only triggered one and made the saving throw, so that's not too bad.
Oh, you are so good at that. You took us all safely across.
You're most welcome, Saffron.
So that was that was from the Tasha's. That was one of the traps
That's
they put in
clever.
the back
Yeah,
one.
that was
I
fun.
thought that was one of the relatively easy in terms of understanding like what you need to do, but just like the mind game of some of them are backwards or whatever. If you
I
want,
hate crossword puzzles with a passion.
I love how the professor's like, wait, I see magic on the screen.
so you managed to get over here and would be able to open up this door. We're gonna right here. We're going to assume that you'll take a short rest of some kind, just to kind of get it out of the way. You'd easily be able to have the chance either here or have done so previously. So, probably maybe only benefits the count or Viscount maybe, but Pandora will recover some hit points and such. So if you got any abilities that you burned up earlier that you get back on short rest, you can take those back.
Yeah, unfortunately, my healing light only recovers at a long rest, and everything else I was using was cantrips, so I'm good to go.
Okay.
I got a few spell slots back, so I'm happy with that.
Cool.
All right. I just want to open this up so you can all see this next chamber. And so you make your way into this next room. What you see before you is this room is pretty well lit. There's like sconces in the walls that have kind of a magical effect on them that cast a very bright light about the room. In front of you, so you're standing on this side of the room. You're standing on a platform that it seems rises up 40 feet from the floor below you. On the opposite side, you see a similar platform that's also 40 feet up. And on that raised ledge, you see staring back at you a 6-armed demon with a serpentine lower half. Her top torso is humanoid, and her 6 arms each have a blade at the ready. In between these two platforms, these discs that you see on the map they're wooden platforms that hang from chain from the ceiling that are about the same altitude as the platform that you were on. There are 9 of them in total. As you're coming into the room, suddenly out of nowhere, the old woman from earlier kind of enters onto the platform with you, and she says, "Very good. You've proven yourself worthy of taking on the challenge of the test of blades. Just as I did when I was mortal." And there's kind of a little glimmer in her eye. "You'll need to face off against a very fearsome opponent. That thing right over there," she kind of wags her finger at the demon. "The test will begin when one of you makes it to the other platform. You cannot complete the test unless one of you is standing on the opposite side of the room to confront your opponent. Only then can you face them. This trial is a matter of life and death. Do not go forward if you're not prepared to face the consequences, if you're not prepared to lay it all on the line to achieve victory. The swords can only be wielded by those of courage, those who are willing to sacrifice everything for what they believe in." And Pandora kind of bows very deeply to her and says, "I am eager to honor you in battle, Matarua."
That beast looks like the one that we seen on the wall back in that other room.
Yeah, it looks like this.
I wish I could say I was surprised. It is a Merilith.
Oh, that is a lot of arms and a lot of swords. So, how do we get across? Do the little discs, would they swing, or are they kind of in place?
So I'm gonna break it down pretty transparently in terms of mechanics. The old woman would say, if you climb down or if you fall, you are forfeit from the challenge.
Right. Okay.
There are two ways to go about this. You can the first hop onto a platform is a freebie. There's no skill check involved there. You can hop to these shorter distances, and that'll be a DC 13 acrobatics, but it'll require more of them. Or you can do two, so you could do basically what, 1, 2, 3, 4 DC 13 acrobatics checks, or you can attempt 2 DC 15 checks to get across that way. So higher DC, fewer checks, lower DC. Let's make this, sorry, because I created this. Let's say it's a 12. Let's make that the number differential. You do have rerolls. You have 3 rerolls from the chat.
Well, this does definitely not a task for me in terms of my weak abilities. I'm probably gonna have to sit this one out, but I'll have my son take the wheel for a bit. He's a little better with these things.
I have spells that can cross this distance. If someone else can get across to trigger the battle, I can hex this creature. I can fire Eldritch Blasts at this creature. I think I will be of more use here than risk falling and being of no use.
Well, if it means it... Sorry.
Pandora just suggests, she's already on one. She's like ready to get swinging over there, but she says that thing looks quite formidable. It might be good if we can time 2 of us landing on the platform at once, if that'll trigger the battle.
If you want, I can help by teleporting closer. I have the capability. And I can...
I'm going to go, but I will probably fall.
I will try to follow you and to get there as quickly as I can.
I will play anchor then.
Pandora is going to try to risk it and go straight there. So I'll have her do the opening shot here. And she falls and disappears.
Oh, no.
Oh boy.
Reroll? Can we give her a reroll, guys? I think we want her in the battle.
I would allow that if you wanted it.
Yeah, I think
Please.
that would probably be a good idea.
Okay, she makes it.
Oh, don't be so reckless, Miss Pandora. We need you.
She's just kind of she's waiting, like you could see like that. It was pretty shaky, and she managed to kind of grab on and like she almost like fell, but like managed to like slide down and grab the chain and had to work real hard to climb back up on top of that. So she's kind of hanging out right there until a few of you maybe make some progress forward.
Halibut's making a jump. Is it a dex save?
Acrobatics check.
Acrobatics?
Want to use a reroll?
Yeah,
How many we got?
You got 2 left.
Well,
And I guess which way are you going? Are you going for the tough way or the DC 12?
I'm going for the middle one.
The easy one? Okay. Or the easier one?
Oh, no.
I'd let you got one last reroll here if you wanted to use it.
I'm never going to make it across. I've got no plus for acrobatics to do.
Do you have spells though that can reach across if just one person can make it?
How far is that across over there?
It would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Looking at probably 90 feet.
I don't know if I got spells that go that far.
Even if you have a healing spell that can go that far, once a melee character gets across, it might make sense.
No, even my healing word only goes 60 feet, so. I don't know. I'll
Maybe hold off until we get Pandora across.
Well,
we may need reroll
Halibut has activated, so if he doesn't finish this, he will fall. So you got the one reroll left, Halibut. Do you want to try it, or see what happens when you fall?
Has anybody else got a lot of athletic ability, or should I just keep going?
I think you have to.
Well,
keep going.
you're in a failure situation right now. You're either failing this check or you're using this reroll. There's no
take
stopping.
the reroll and give it a chance.
All right.
Otherwise, you're
Okay.
Oh no.
So
down.
Halibut falls from the platform and he disappears.
All right, I am no good to anyone on this side, so I'm going to try hopping the short ways across. That didn't work for me, and I have no reroll, so I'm gone.
Well, Vicon, looks like it's your turn.
I'm not moving. I am waiting for Pandora to make it across so we can battle from afar. I have spells that can reach the distance.
I guess it means it's my turn then, isn't it?
Or
All right.
wait to see if she makes it across. You may, unless you don't have spells that reach that far.
I use a sword.
Okay, have at it.
All right, Anzio. Here you go again, buddy. This is your specialty. And I'll do Blade Song.
Okay.
And I'll do the first jump. Boop. And I'll do a short hop. So it's an acrobatics, you said?
Yeah.
So if this is right, it should be at advantage. I don't know why. Oh, I just clicked that and put it on myself. That's why. But I'll roll again. I'm not there.
I know. Look at that. I mean, you had +4.
Could I try and teleport myself with Misty Step to try and save myself?
Yeah, sure. So you were on the platform. You wanted Misty Step. You could get to like this one automatically.
I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna waste the second one. I'm saving that for something else. All right, Pandora. You're why am I talking over? Pandora, you ready?
She says, "Ready."
Let's do it. I'm doing a short jump. I'm not doing a long jump.
Uh-oh.
She fails.
Oh, jeez.
Professor makes it.
Haha! I made it. Pandora, wait. Oh. You're telling me I gotta fight this thing now? I already
You haven't made it over there yet.
Yeah, I know. It's not helping my self-confidence.
I'm coming home, honey.
Honey, mother, I may be there soon. I'm gonna jump again.
All right. You make it, and then from there you can jump onto the platform.
Before I do, I'm gonna cast Blur.
Okay.
And then I will prepare to dodge for my life as I jump to the next platform. Yeah. Oop.
All right. As that happens, so timeout on that. The other three that fell, you find yourselves in this. You don't really know where you are, but you find yourselves in a tiny, or a kind of oddly shaped room. It is dark, but I think you all have dark vision. So you just kind of like, you've got kind of this grayscale kind of look of this room, and your feet are kind of, you're having a hard time getting like firm footing, as the entire chamber that you were in is seems to be covered. The floor is just littered with bone. And from that pile of debris, a number of skeletal warriors stand to face you, one for each of you. So that is happening over here, while there is the serpent being with the 6 arms kind of activates. It's got its swords out, and it is getting ready to prepare for battle. So this is where we'll roll our final initiative for the evening, and we start with the professor.
All right, Missy, let's dance. And I'm going to point my wand at her and use the wand of paralysis.
Sounds good. You should be able to target her. Although I can probably save you the trouble.
She's immune to paralysis.
She's immune.
She?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's turn then.
Next
Jump
up.
back away. Just run.
I don't know if it cancels the trial though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was just being silly.
Pandora is up first. She's gonna take a couple of swings at the skeleton in front of her. First attack hits. Deals 7 points. Takes her second attack. Also hits. And another point. That skeleton is still up. Viscount, it is your turn.
I would like to cast Hex on the Merilith, and I believe I have enough distance to do so. If each one of those larger squares is 5 feet, it's going to be 90 feet. Maybe she's too far back. 5,
I think
10, 15, 20. Yeah.
She's just a little too far away at this point.
So could I jump to one of the platforms, the guinea platforms? Would that get you close enough?
Yep, you could get, that's a freebie. No skill check to do that one.
All right. So
that should be enough.
Cast Hex. Again, when I look and I expand it, it says 1d6 necrotic roll self. So I don't know if this is going to...
Yep, exactly. You got it. So now when you attack and you hit and then you roll your damage, it'll add that effect, that 1d6 on.
Okay. All right. So that is a bonus action, I believe.
Yes.
All right. So then I will fire an Eldritch Blast her way.
A 14 will not hit.
Okay. That is my turn.
Saffron.
All right. Well, let's see. I will use my long sword on the injured skeleton here.
That's a hit.
All right.
Goes down. Smash
And
it into a couple dozen pieces.
Yay. And I will stay where I am.
Next up, skeletons. So first skeleton is going to try to take a swing. They're wielding short swords. It's going to swing at halibut. 23 to hit. Deal 7 points. The second one is going to swing at Saffron. And that one misses. Savoir, it is your turn. No.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere!
I am ready for the pain that is about to follow.
It moves forward, the Merilith. I need Dave here. I need the banhammer. We got some bots in the chat. All right. So, the Merilith. So, it definitely has two blades that are a little bit more distinct. So, we're going to resolve those two attacks first. Its first attacks with... it's a longsword that has a blue glow, very similar... Excuse me, similar to the one that the short sword that Pandora uses. So she swings with that first. But disadvantage will miss from the blur spell. Now the second attack is from a blade that has sort of a an aura that's probably like the blade that the villain from the Mandalorian has. It's just kind of got that dark aura,
like the dark saber.
The dark saber, yeah, it looks like that, with a very ornate kind of curved hilt that is bejeweled. So you're going to swing at you with the longsword of wounding, and misses. And then 4 attacks with the more ordinary longswords that she has. 14 misses. 18 misses.
A flurry of parries is coming its way.
17 misses. And a nat 1, which is a miss. I think you got the right warrior up there for this one.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been very good if I was over there.
Halibut, it is your turn.
A halibut attacks with his warhammer.
Mm-hmm. Eight points. It is still that's bludgeoning damage, right? You crash into it with your warhammer and it just busts right through its ribcage and it shatters and is laid to waste.
Okay, he casts spiritual weapon too. And
That's a hit.
is that effects?
I just need a attack roll from the spiritual weapon. So you can hit
I cast
You did like a turn undead is what you clicked on. Click on your magnifying glass next to the spiritual weapon.
yeah.
So you get and then just cast a spell. Oh no, okay. I'm sorry. I think I missed it. Yeah, you got the hit. I guess what? Okay, sorry. I need the damage. Roll the 1d8 plus 3 force.
Is that the save?
No, it's so you hit. I just need the damage. So click the damage button, or
It says effect or save.
not for spiritual weapon. It should be. I don't know what you're clicking
Oh,
on.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Okay. So 7 points. Go back. Just make sure that you didn't like accidentally like click off things that you didn't actually use. But that one's still up. Back to the top, Professor. It is your turn. You're in battle with the Merilith. Which give me an intelligence check, quick.
Straight intelligence check.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that 20 wobble. I'm so upset about that. It's all right.
Let me see. That's enough. Hold on. I just want to show you something real quick. Shoot. It's clearly you're seeing kind of through the illusion of this thing. It's not actually a Merilith, as I'm sure you as the player know, but it is you're seeing through it is bone golem that has the same number of attacks, same number of arms, but is clearly a undead.
I do have one question though. So I can see through the illusion, but the weapons it's using, it's still
the weapons.
Those actual weapons.
Those seem very real. Yes.
Don't let
Sorry,
him hit you.
I used the word undead. Construct is the word I meant to say. Bone golem.
There's no way I'm gonna probably swordsman this lovely individual. So I want to, with my action, cast magic missiles. However, I want to direct the missiles at the two blades, trying to knock it out of its hand so I can grab it for myself.
I
If you
think
want to allow that, I will just do a disarm.
Okay, yeah. I don't think you'll be able to flex the usage of magic missile in that way.
Right. I will try to be swift as the wind and try to slash at the hand to attempt to disarm the one that looks like the dark saber, and I will call it a dark saber.
Okay.
So I don't know what that. Is it like an attack roll or is it like a skill check?
I have a hard time with these kinds of actions sometimes in D&D just because there's class features that allow it.
Also do it.
So I always feel like, what's the point of the class feature if like anybody can do it? So let's figure out a way to like make the intent of your action work. So you're trying to wrest away the blade.
Yes.
So
in layman's terms,
I'm going to say this is going to be really challenging, and it's going to require a series of checks in order to do it. So your first task is going to be, trying to get this thing is like swinging wildly at you. You need to be able to like kind of get a command on the hand and bring it under your control to move on to the second task, which would be wresting that blade away. So I would say this would be a strength athletics check.
perfect. Athletics it is. -2. I have a strength of 7. But 15's pretty good for me.
Yeah.
That's real good.
So you managed to do that. You've got the hold on the single weapon. And so you're going to need a little bit more to actually get control of the weapon, but I'll consider it like you've effectively reduced that attack. Like it won't use that attack against you on the next round. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I think that goes to you just don't want to get hit by that blade.
I just don't want to get hit in general.
Yeah.
I am a wizard. I may be good with sword, but I am wizard still. I have no hit points.
Next up is Pandora, who is going to try to take some swings at the skeleton that's still up. First attack, a 20 will hit. dealing enough damage to bring that one down. And then she like kind of scurries over to the room and is just kind of futzing around. She's like, "We got to find a way to get out of here. We need to rejoin our comrades in the trial." Viscount, it is your turn.
Well, we're gonna hope I can land an Eldritch Blast to make Hex worthwhile here. So
The AC has not been hit yet. Eldritch Blast comes down and he's just kind of like, sort of like, what's that? General Grievous, right? He's just got all these blades swinging and like he manages to like kind of like deflect that. Like it just gets hit by one of the blades.
All right, well, that's all I got.
Saffron.
Are we in a, like, is that a wall, or I'm trying to get a sense, like,
Yep, you're in an
okay,
enclosed space, and so you
and there's a ceiling. It
yeah,
seems like it's
it's like a
okay.
really low, maybe like 10-foot high room. It's very kind of claustrophobic compared to the open space that you were in previously.
Right. And as far as I know, we can't see any way out of it.
Mm-mm.
Okay. I'm going to scurry up on Pandora's shoulders if she lets me and try pushing on the ceiling as she's pushing on the wall, just to
Okay.
see if that gives way.
Make an investigation check.
Okay. I'm about as good at that as jumping across platforms.
Yeah, if there's any way out of this room, it doesn't seem like the ceiling is pretty intact. It doesn't have any give or anything, and you don't slip upon any mechanisms or anything.
All right. Oh, this doesn't seem to give here.
It's the Bone
Savoy's
Golem's turn. Savoy's turn. First, we'll see what happens with Glimmer. Attacks with that. Is a miss. And 4 attacks with the long swords. Miss. Miss. $18 misses. And final one is a miss.
Oh, my heart. I can't. I can't. 6 attacks is ridiculous.
It was only 5 that time.
It's true. Hell of it.
He's going to start looking around for any sort of secret doorway. He's not very good at that, but he is a dwarf, so he does have stone cunning. So
Okay, I'll give you.
I'll find anything.
I'll give you advantage on an intelligence check or investigation check. You have advantage. Okay. Okay. You manage to, as you're futzing around, you're looking on the walls and stuff. You kind of, under your foot, kind of feel something, and you manage to kind of like, with your foot, kind of shift away some of the bones, and you see there's like a protrusion of stone that is raised up. You feel like that could be a button of some kind.
All right. He's gonna try and lift it up or step on it or whatever, which way the mechanism might go.
You step on it and a doorway swings open right over here.
Back where we started.
So if you got movement, you can certainly use your movement to get over there. Back to the top. Professor, it is your turn.
I'm going to try to throw my body weight up and try and use my legs to try and mobilize the arm and rip the sword out of its hand.
All right. Another strength athletics check.
Maximum strength. 7.
Does not work, and it manages to pull the sword back and regains control of it.
Damn it. That was turn, I guess.
Next
Fight
up,
again later.
Pandora is up, and she's going to move 20, 25, 30. She's just going to, like, get in position to jump onto this. Well, actually... I think she can get there. She gets onto that platform there. She's going to start to try to make her way to the other side. She doesn't have any ranged attacks or anything like that. Tylendale, this game right here that we were playing is one of our community campaign games, and so it is something that is open to the people that support our Patreon and people that subscribe to us on Twitch. So our Patreon folks get the first chance to sign up for games, and when we don't have a full roster, as is the case tonight, then we reach out to our Twitch subscribers to see if we can pull in people off the bench to fill in for the community campaign. You also, if you're looking for games, come and join the Discord. There are a lot of people in our Discord that are posting games or looking for players and things like that. So it's a really great community for if you're just looking for a place to find a game. Come join us there. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, so that was Pandora's turn. Viscount is up next.
I gotta spam Eldritch Blast. It's really all I got in my arsenal at the moment.
You casted Hex in it, right?
Yeah, but I have to land an attack in order for
Yeah,
it to be able to
but also
use.
with Hex, they get a disadvantage on a certain skill check.
Oh, yeah. I didn't choose a particular skill. I guess I would say, maybe a strength. If you're trying to wrestle the sword away from it, I would do a strength checks.
Yeah, we can. I won't make it retroactive for the checks that have passed, but we can go with that going forward. I didn't ask either, so
I'm gonna actually jump back over here because I think if I can get to this other pillar once she leaves it, at least maybe I can do some healing light on Professor if I can get to that pillar if he needs it in the future. So that's my turn.
All right, Saffron.
All right, I am going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out the door. I'm going to cast Bless on, I'll cast it on, let's see, 5, 10, yeah, Pandora, the Viscount, and Halibut. I think that worked. Did that seem to work?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So that is what I will do. You are all blessed. Good luck.
Next up is the Bone Golem. We will first deal with Glimmer. We'll attack with Glimmer. Miss. We'll attack with the Knight's Edge. Miss. And then 4 attacks from the other blades. Ooh, that one was a nat 1. All right, just a miss. I gotta get lucky on one of these, right?
No.
No, doesn't look like it. Nope, not that one. And the last one. is a miss.
You know, there were some points where I thought I should take mirror image, and now this is the moment where I realize I made the right choice.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
definitely working out. Halibut.
Halibut moves in here and he remembers he had something else in his arsenal that he could use. So he is casting Guiding Bolt. Whoops. Did I do the wrong?
Nope, that worked. A 22 is going to hit.
Nice.
Whoa.
17 points of damage and advantage on the next attack. Anything else, Halibut?
Nope, that's it for now.
Bolt comes crashing into the side of the thing that kind of stumbles onto like one kneecap as it's still fighting and defending itself. Next up, Professor.
God damn it, Dad. Why are you so weak? I can't be fighting with saying you're 109. What best you can do? I'm just going to hold up my head and do magic missiles.
All right.
So 3 missiles come out. Boop, boop, boop. First missile. Second missile. Third missile.
Wow.
Nice.
Couldn't ask for much better as 3 missiles apparate and smash and crack through the bone material like flakes of bone, or kind of like kind of ricocheting and shrapneling probably in your face as you blow them away and continue to defend yourself. It is still up, but looking pretty rough at this point. Next up is Pandora. She's gonna try to take the wild leap, do the long jump, and makes it. So she gets over to here. Next up is Vicon.
All right, he's gonna move to this pillar and hope with being blessed that his Eldritch Blast is gonna land.
You're blessed, and you'll have advantage because of Halibut's Guiding Bolt.
Okay.
So.
Oh, jeez.
That'll miss, unfortunately.
Ugh. That's it.
Next up is Saffron.
Well, let me see. I don't know if it makes. Well, I will jump to this one over here. I don't know how to release these people. Do they have to stay connected to me? When I control clicked the targets before, I feel like the lines don't go away.
On the combat tracker, do you have a little thing that looks like a target? By your name or by your bar on the combat tracker?
I don't see a target. I just have a little
I
flame.
I can clear it.
Map, you can see there's also a thing called target mode and clear targets.
I don't have that. I know somebody was telling me about it another time. I don't have a little target mode. Like, I don't see that. So
It's okay. I cleared it for you.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to attack or anything, but I just didn't know if there was a way
Yeah.
to make it go away. I don't know why it doesn't show up. But anyway, I will just jump there. I don't really think there's anything else I can do. So I'll stay here and concentrate on blessing.
The bone golem is up. And we'll start things out with Glimmer, as it has been doing. Misses. The Sword of Wounding. Misses. And then 4 attacks from the longsword. Miss. Miss. 2 more swings. That's not going to do it. Last one. An
Wow.
18. I think the 18 has been the highest that I've gotten so far. What is the AC, Professor? 20?
20, but I also have shield, so 25.
Okay, so it has some ammunition
I
in the tank.
I have leeway.
Halibut is up next.
Halibut places is going to cast his guiding bolt again. Can he do it again?
That one not gonna land.
Oh.
Can we go back? Anything else, Halibut?
Nope, that's all he can do.
Back to the top. Professor, it is your turn.
Glad to see you're all okay. I'm glad you're not dead. And he's just gonna give the thumbs up and then cast another magic missile. Because I'm not gonna bother with AC as well. So 1, 2.
Can he do it?
Oh,
It's still
got
up.
one. It's got like 1 hit point.
Oh.
It's so red. That is turn.
Pandora is going to again maybe there's something about it that she is seeing that her opportunity to be a part of this fight is slipping through her fingers. She's going to try to take the desperate route. And it rolled off of a 16. She falls again
No.
and disappears. That door here closes. And she's likely in a battle with a skeleton. Viscount, it is your turn.
This time, Eldritch Blast is going to work.
I believe in you, Viscount. This is all you.
Oh no.
Or not. That's my turn.
Saffron.
I am going to stand here and cheer the people on around me. We're gonna do this. Let's just keep trying. He's looking really rough. I don't think that will help anybody, but that's all I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna try to jump because I want to stay concentrating.
The bone golem is up again. Will attack with Glimmer, which misses. The Sword of Wounding. An 18. And then 4 attacks with the longsword. Miss. Miss. $19.
Still a miss.
And a miss.
I
Next
can
up,
empathize with the
Halibut.
Halibut's going for another try with the.
Get it done.
Come on, Halibut, you got it.
Oh man.
Man, our rolls are so horrible suddenly.
That's all I can do.
We are so ineffectual.
But it's
Can't jump, can't hit.
Professor. What do you got?
With 3
That's
quick
unbelievable.
swipes of his sword, each will bring out another set of magic missiles because I'm not hitting that AC.
And how would you like to finish it?
Pretty much 1 strike goes towards the one sword, knocks off that arm. The next strike goes over to the other sword, knocks off that arm, and then 1 more straight to the chest. And it's all just missiles flying out all of them.
As you're piercing through the illusion of the Merilith, it becomes quickly apparent even to those from afar that this thing is completely composed of bone, and that facade fades. And as the magic missiles are blowing through it, its arms are dropping off, and it just basically kind of collapses to dust. Even though the 4 non-magical weapons it had, but the two notable blades, the one that has the blue glow and the other with the bejeweled hilt that sort of radiates almost a necrotic type of energy, those 2 remain. And it would appear that they are yours to claim, should you wish to claim them. The old woman is suddenly back on the opposite platform once again. She kind of gives you a nod of approval that it is okay. It is okay to take these and claim them.
I will pick up the blades.
And so you have accomplished your task. These 2 very, very powerful weapons are it's a longsword +2. That one is the blade glimmer, and then the sword of wounding is knight's edge. You will reconvene with Pandora, who will she'll have successfully fought off her skeleton that she was with, but there's almost like kind of a look of sadness a little bit that she was not there to be a part of the fight, but she kind of congratulates you, Professor, and she says, you've earned these. And maybe the things that Ariga said about a prophecy, about how the Magi had a chosen one, maybe you are that person. Maybe you're the one that is meant to go on and defeat Zargon. If you have to do so with the artifacts of our fair goddess, I think we could be proud that to back a champion, even if you are of one of the other clans.
They shall be used with grace and honor in your name, and your goddess's name. Oh, I'm tired.
And I think that's where we'll wrap up. You'll all be able to sneak back out and find, you probably have to bide your time a little bit, because you got to kind of sneak on out and figure out your way out of the complex. But given how easy it was for you to figure out a way in, getting out should be no problem. And so you'll make your way back to the ant hive and wait for the next one. So thanks, players, for hanging in there a little bit later than I of course I overloaded it with maybe one too many rooms, but thanks for hanging out.
It was so good.
Yeah, it was worth it.
I don't have our schedule up for January community games quite yet, but I'll probably get around to posting them probably after Christmas is come and gone, and get those up on the Patreon and in the Discord. So thanks to anyone who's out there watching. If you want to come and join us in the Discord, please do so. I think the link just got posted. I'll throw it up again. But yeah, this has been the Lost City, one of the original adventures reincarnated. We've been having a lot of fun with these, and we will continue to do so for the coming months. So with that, we'll close it out here and say goodbye and good night and happy holidays.
Bye.
Boy, you can't see me waving, but I'm waving.